welcome to my channel. My name is Catherine and I'm a Celtic Reconstructionist Druid. If you'd like to know more about that, then you can check out my video on the subject. As I'm sure you're all aware, we have an important festival coming up, Lughnasadh, usually known as Gwyl Awst in Wales, but I just call it Gwyl Lleu. Awst means August, which is from the Roman Emperor Augustus, and so doesn't sit right with my Iron Age Reconstruction tendencies. So I chose to go with a name that is more reflective of the Irish name. Lughnasadh means Festival of Lugh, so I use Gwyl Lleu, which means Festival of Lleu. I'm going to show you how to make a super simple loaf of bread to offer to Lleu or Lugh. It takes less than an hour, and I'll also be showing you the ritual that I'm going to be using on Gwyl Lleu. First things first though, who is Lleu? He's connected to the pan-Celtic god Lughnasadh, and is called Lugh in Ireland. He's the god of many things, but primarily oaths, crafts, spear casting, and the harvest. Within Welsh mythology, his full name is Gwyl Lleu, which means Lleu of the skillful hand, and he's the son of Alianlod and an unknown father. He's raised by his uncle Gwydion, and has a troubled relationship with his mother, who tries to deny him a name, weapons, and a wife, but is tricked into giving him the first two. He's very important to humanity because he helps to bring in the first harvest, which is traditionally halfway between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox, which is broadly the 1st of August. That's usually when Lughnasadh is celebrated now. In the Iron Age, a new day began at sunset because then they could see the stars and the moon to gauge the date. So I will be celebrating Gwyl Lleu after sunset on the 31st of July. As this time would have been the first grain harvest, bread would have been especially given in offering. So I'm going to show you how to make this humble loaf. Obviously you can make fancy bread if you want, but if like me you're not the best baker in the world and are struggling to get hold of special baking products, you can use this one. As you can see, this is a rather tiny loaf. I halved the recipe for this because I didn't have enough flour, but also didn't want to make a massive loaf either. You can find the link to the recipe I used in the description if you would like to follow this yourself. I've already set my oven to 170 degrees Celsius fan, which is 190 degrees Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit in a non-fan oven. First of all, let's measure and mix the dry ingredients. 240 grams of plain flour, or 2 cups of all-purpose flour if you're American, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That's it. No yeast or bread flour needed. I'm actually using self-raising flour here, so I didn't strictly need the baking powder, but it's been in my cupboard for a while and I thought it could use all the help it could get. Next, we just need to stir in the wet ingredients. 1/2 tablespoon of oil, that's 1.5 teaspoons, as you can see, and 155 millilitres of water. It's a pretty dry mix, but I'm doing my best to combine it, and as you only need to knead this bread a tiny bit, you don't need to worry about it being smooth and shiny. I thought it was a little too dry, so I added a drop of water, and of course it became incredibly sticky. As I said, I'm not the best baker, so a little extra flour helped me out. I've already prepared a tray dusted with flour, so just arrange it into a disc on top. You're actually meant to make sure that it's no thicker than 1.5 inches, so whoops. I still got a nice loaf out of it though. I'm cutting a cross into it, which my knife probably isn't quite sharp enough to do precisely, but I'm trying to make it look as pretty as possible. One last sprinkling of flour and it's ready for the oven. The original recipe, which is double the size, says 35 to 40 minutes, so I'm going to give it 30 and see what it's like. And just like magic, half an hour has passed instantly for you. This loaf will look pale and underbaked compared to normal bread, so don't be surprised by that. The bottom is naturally going to be a bit softer because of the foil, but it sounds pretty hollow, so I'm happy with it. I'm just going to put it on this trivet insert for my Instant Pot because I don't have a cooling rack, but that's it. It can be sliced and eaten once it's cooled down a bit, but let's go back to present me to use it in the Gwyl Lleu ritual. So now the next day, I just covered my little loaf with kitchen foil overnight to stop it getting stale. As you can see, it looks great for such a quick and simple recipe. I'm not going to be reciting the words I'm going to be using on the actual ritual on Gwyl Lleu, as I don't want to defend Lleu, but I will be adding it through voiceover, so you'll know my ritual. If If you watch my beginner's Druid Ritual video, you'll know that I like to call on 3 gods, as 3 is a sacred number within Druidry. So as well as Lleu, I will be praying to Amaethon, god of the plough, who carefully aids in the planting of crops, and often gets annoyed by Lleu's interference at the harvest, as well as Bel, the sun god, in thanks for the warm summer that allows the grain to ripen and be gathered. If you'd like more specialised prayers for these gods and the whole Welsh pantheon, you can click the link in my description to see my new Druidic meditation ritual, which features 37 prayers to the Welsh gods, including prayers for magic rituals, love and relationships and careers, amongst many others. I like to keep my rituals simple and straightforward, so all I'm using for this is my cauldron, which is filled mostly with water, sort of 3/4 full, so there's room to put things in, the bread that I've made, and a measure of whiskey. Whiskey wasn't available during the Iron Age because they couldn't distill alcohol, so mead or beer would be more traditional, but the gods always love alcohol as an offering, and this is a lovely Lagavulin single malt, so I hope that Lleu enjoys it. So for each prayer, I'm going to tear off a piece of bread and then tear that into 3 pieces, then add it to the cauldron. Once I've done this, I'll then pour in a portion of the whiskey, and I'll repeat that for all 3 gods. Again, you'll see my mouth moving, but I will be speaking different words because I will give this an offering, but I don't want to do my Gwyl Lleu prayers. They will be added over in voiceover. This is what the incense bread looks like. Lleu Llaugyfes, god of the harvest, I offer you this bread and whiskey in thanks for your kindness to humanity in helping us gather the harvest and to honour your great festival. Amaethon the plougher, who makes the land lush, I offer you this bread and whiskey in thanks for the careful tending of the wheat to make this bread, and for your mercy in letting us tend your land. Bel, most shining sun god, I offer you this bread and whiskey in thanks for the life-giving power you give to the earth that allowed this wheat to ripen and feed us for the rest of the year. Okay, my cauldron is very full. I'll just give you a bit of a look, so you can see that it's pretty stuffed with bread and so on. Perhaps I could have put a little bit less water in it. I did fill it quite up with water, but there we go, that's been given an offering. So I can't drink alcohol due to health reasons. The Lagavulin is my partner's. But once you've given your offering, enjoying a few drinks and a meal with family or friends would very much be in the spirit of Iron Age feasting, so feel free to enjoy yourself with it. This is a time of celebration, it is a festival, so have a good time with your friends if you're able to, in person, or if you can't, then try to do something over the internet or through phone. That's a great way of connecting with people. You can dispose of your offering the next morning, ideally by composting it, but do so however you can. If you can only put it in the bin, then that's fine. That's all from me today. Please let me know in the comments if you have any plans for Gwyl Lleu or Lughnasadh. Again, there's a link to my Druid meditation ritual and 37 prayers for the Welsh pantheon within it if you would like a little more guidance. Liking, sharing and subscribing really helps me to reach new people and to make more videos. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you a blessed day and a happy Gwyl Lleu.